Good evening and welcome to our Friday night cocktail hour at the Grand at Home. I am Joe Ferlo, the director of the Grand Oshkosh. I'm glad you could be with us tonight, and we have a really fun night tonight in store for you. We're going to preview, actually not preview, but we're going to meet a returning artist, a returning favorite here at the Grand, and someone who, well, I guess a pair. I don't know. We'll get into the sibling rivalry of the whole thing in a minute, but. Certainly one of my favorite artists on the Grand stage. If you are of a certain age, a boomer like me, or virtually anyone who has followed throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, chances are you know who Lamb Chop is. You've watched Lamb Chop and Shari Lewis on one of many different television incarnations along the way. Well, Shari's no longer with us. Lamb Chop is with us. And Lamb Chop is now voiced by her sister, Shari's daughter, Mallory Lewis, who joins us here for a cocktail hour. Mallory, thanks for being with us.
You're very welcome. I have to correct you on 2 points. Mom was on TV through 1998 with Lamb Chop's Play Along and Charlie Horse Music Pizza. So when people ask me who my audience is, I say 27 to dead.
Wow.
And the other point is I don't voice her, she voices me. So you understand, you know that means where her hand is.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Although I do remember a rather famous, what I remember, and it's probably an interview with you that I remember this from, is that Shari, my childhood memories, my dad memories of my kids watching Shari, this fabulous, lovely children's entertainer, but she had quite a sense of humor.
Oh, yes.
And was she not famous for ordering lamb in restaurants?
Oh, yeah. I have there's an envelope in the pantry that says Shari's lamb recipes on it. She loves to horrify people. Plus, we love lamb. A friend of mine just ordered a whole lamb from the lamb farmer. And he'll have it butchered and frozen. So this is yesterday. She says, "Can I see a picture of my lamb?" And the guy goes, "Well, you sure it's not going to weird you out?" And she goes, No, I grew up on a farm. And so he sends her a picture and she goes, "What's the lamb's name?" And he goes, "We call it Lamb Chop."
Oh, my goodness. Hey, it is cocktail hour, by the way.
Boom.
Actually, where you are in sunny California is actually still happy hour.
Yes. But in Corona time, I like to say that 10 a.m. is the new 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. is the new 5 p.m. So basically, the only reason I'm still quite sober is because of you. I had to wait.
Well, I appreciate that. We'll see what we can do. We'll see how the hour goes.
I've got a question, Joe. Your hair, I mean, you do have some of the most fabulous man hair I've ever seen. Do you have it in a man bun in the back?
No, I haven't made the man bun yet. I'm almost at a mullet now with my Corona wave. My Corona wave. This is my 1970s hair. It's just a different color.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. We've been trimming our dog. We have a little Havanese Cavalier Poodle cross. Have a Cavapoo. And so if you'd like, I can send you a link to the buzzer thing.
No, I have a regular hairdresser, and she's been marveling and laughing at because I'll put crazy photos on Facebook of like my morning hair is ridiculous because I have the
you want to know ridiculous in the morning?
Yes.
The other day I got out of bed and my wonderful husband looked at me and said, "Wow, you've quite the hairdo this morning." Now I hadn't seen a mirror yet, and I walked in the mirror and my hair was in horns like this.
Oh, that's great.
And then a couple of weeks later, I had a unicorn horn going sort of like this.
Well, the length of the Corona wave would make me feel younger if it wasn't this color. But what are you going to do? I've earned the color. Hey, look! Here comes our first.
I'm still a natural redhead.
Here comes our first question.
Oh,
that's a good one.
How old is Lancup? Well, Lancup was born in 1956, I believe, on the Captain Kangaroo show. But she is actually 6 years old. She has always been 6. Hush Puppy is 8.5, and Charlie Horse is 12.
How long a time was there between the time that your mom passed and Lamb Chop was retired to the time that Lamb Chop came out and made an appearance again?
Well, I was pregnant when my mom passed, and I spent most of my pregnancy and the first couple of months of Jamie's life accepting posthumous awards for mom. Mm-hmm. And my ex-husband one day said to me, we can't actually make, I have no idea why this is happening.
I don't know why that's happening, but you know what? You were around for my last glitchy production. So I don't know. Maybe it's some California thing.
Gremlins. So my ex-husband said, we can't make a living with you accepting posthumous awards. What are you going to do here? And so I was at an event for Pat Proft, who wrote Police Academy, all the really funny movies of the day. And I had tucked Lamb Chop into the podium because I didn't want to commit to doing it. And I slipped my hand in her when I accepted the award, and she just said, "Shari would be so proud." And there was silence. And then if it had been a script, it would have said collective gasp. And then everybody burst into applause. And I thought, "Ooh, let's do that."
Yeah, here's the next phase of career, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So, wait, I just got to put that up, of course, because we know we love Lamb Chop.
Thank you, Kevin.
So, and this one is for all of us, I think, for me too, which is great. Neither can we. And I did announce earlier this week, actually yesterday, on my weekly question and answer, that it'll be September 12th for us to open. We're going to take this time. We're going to make sure we've got, if we've got to put social distancing seating in, we'll do that. If we've got to put new procedures in, we'll do that. We've got new cleaning procedure, all of this stuff. It's more important right now that people are comfortable in the space.
Don't feel safe, they're not coming to the show. So,
and let me shout out to you here, because this you are one of the great examples that I've been citing for next year. I don't know if you know this or if it's your agent that is responsible for this, but when our capacity reduced.
Oh no, that was me.
I went back to our acts, and I'm like, look, I know we have a gig, but I was barely making it with 500 seats, and now I've got 218 seats. And artists like you said, all right, we'll do 2 shows then.
The reason the performers are so, well, first of all, if it were a place that I didn't know, I'm not sure I'd say that, but you're you, even if you are 2 plane flights away from me, which does not put you high on my popularity list, particularly right now. But
hey, that's routing. The first plane flight needs to get you somewhere with a show, and then it's a piece of cake.
But the reason that performers like to perform, and very few of us charge for the show. We charge for the years of experience that we bring to the show. We charge for the money that we've put into the act, because all the video was not free. The music was not free. The comedy was not free. So we charge to recoup those costs. We charge to cover our hairdresser that, like we have to get our hair done before we go. We charge for the fact that we have to leave our families. Performers don't charge for the show. We would pay you to let us do a show. But the thing that I'm worried about, I do comedy. Now, we all know that people who are clustered together tightly will laugh more. When people are isolated and sitting far apart, they're less comfortable and less free to laugh and engage with the artist. And it's very hard to do. It's not like, yes, there's singing, yes, there's video, but a lot of what I do is comedy, and I play with the audience. Of course I have a script, but it's a suggested outline, because I
absolutely
interact with people. And people, I hope that it will be as much fun performing this way. There was some restaurant, someplace, that in order to enforce social distancing, the article I read said the guy is putting mannequins in the places where people can't sit. And he wrote, and I borrowed from the local theater company costumes for the mannequins, which begs the question, so you already had a bunch of mannequins? In South Korea, I think it was South Korea, the soccer team got in big trouble because they filled the stands with sex dolls.
Oh, jeepers.
So, but, I'm sad because you know how I love to do the autographing afterwards.
I know. I've been warning people about how that's going to change probably for the whole industry, isn't it?
Forever.
Mm-hmm.
My mom didn't do autographings because she didn't want to get diseases. How bad is it for me? I go out after the show, and for an hour, people come over, they tell me I was great, they give me a hug, and they tell me my mother would be proud of me. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, right.
So I'm going to expect that after the show, you come in and out of my dressing room for an hour in a different and pretend to be a different person. Like I would silly falsetto voices from you, maybe a dress.
What do you think about as an alternative? I've been kicking this around, and I don't mean to. I apologize if asking you this on the air is putting you on the spot. But what if at the end of a show, instead, for about 10 minutes, we just moderated a question and answer out of the audience?
Happy to do that, but quite honestly, there's a portion in my show where I do that anyway.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But yes, I think people are going to need to. I think it's a brave new world. Adrian, for those of you out there that do not know, Adrian and Jerry are my agents and just dearest friends, amazing human beings. And Adrian was on a webinar where with all the PhDs, I guess, or some of them, where they were talking about taping shows, like a performing arts center would tape a show. And again, I think that's better for concert performers than it is for comedians.
As I kick it around, if I were to do it, and I'm still doing a lot of research on the feasibility of it, what I would do is a one-time live stream so that people who couldn't get out, who couldn't get a ticket, with the grand, 200 seats, they're going to go fast, would be able to, in real time,
yes,
part of the show. The opportunity's gone. It's not something that remains. It's something that's
what it would really kind of have to be. But again, the problem with that is there's no audience feedback. And as a comedian,
Yeah, you got to have an audience in the place.
I gotta have an audience to play with, or I'm up there by myself. But a hybrid of that, where you have the first 200 seats, and then you also live stream it.
Exactly.
And maybe something where if you don't get the ticket, but you know you're the 201st person,
right?
You're guaranteed a ticket in person on the next one if you want it, a reduced price, obviously, because it's a different experience. But I think I don't know how. I think the musical acts are going to be fine. They don't.
I also think you have to do it well. You know, it can't be me doing this and switching back and forth. It's got to be, you know, people are very forgiving of whatever happens in this.
Sorry about finding my nail on camera, but I haven't had a manicure in 3 months and I have a hangnail.
Hey, I don't care. Sure.
I have a boo-boo right there, Joe.
You guys say hi to Megan because you're supposed to say hello.
Hi, Megan.
And here's a great question.
Lamb Chop has started her own business. She has for Mother's Day, I said to my current amazing husband, my ex-husband, and my son, and my ex used to shoot all of my material. I want to do some videos against green screen. So Brian, my amazing husband, helped me set up the green screen. And by the way, if you keep your green screen for 15 years rolled up in your storage unit, it's not looking that good. And then I had the brilliant thought, let's put it in the dryer. That'll get out the wrinkles. Might put it in the dryer. So, and then Brad and Jamie came over and we recorded music. And my producing partner, Joe, who lives in New York, who's just the sweetest man on the planet. I swear to God, by the time you're done telling him what you want and hang up the phone, your email is pinging with the video back.
Yeah.
We shot a little video piece, and my cousin, Jocelyn, is in New York, and she was the vice president of licensing, I think, for Perry Ellis. She had the job for 1 week, and Corona! So she was laid off. So this is a family project that we're doing. Jocelyn is the senior vice. She got a promotion. She's the senior vice president of licensing for Lamb Chop. And she and a couple of her people that she's worked with and a couple of people I've worked with, my mom's graphics person, Deb Daly. So we got together and we're working with a company and we are going to be producing these masks. Staying at the bottom from breakfast. They're going to come in. So the mask you're going to see at the end of this video, but look how cute. Right? So, and they're going to be in gray and pink, and a denim colored one is coming out. And of course, we're donating to, feeding people since people don't have any money to eat right now.
Right.
But so if you can show the video, and
I'm going to, but now I'm gonna you go first.
It's not going to go live until next week, but I'll send you a link to share, and it'll be on my Facebook.
So here at the Grand at Home, these people are getting a first look.
Yeah, no, nobody has seen this.
Right here, folks, you're getting it. So I do have to point out that when you and I were on the air a while back, me sharing a live screen is where the wheels fell off of everything.
I was your first.
But I've learned a lesson.
I'm sure your other first wasn't that great either, Joe.
Good Lord willing, this is going to work, though. We're going to share this screen, and we're going to show this to you. And I'm going to click share audio, and here we go.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face.
Make sure your tap is the right place.
If we're all super careful, things will all work out.
And we'll get back to normal, so get ready to shout out.
Wash your hands, don't touch your face.
Make sure your napkin's the right way.
If we're all super careful, things will all work out.
And we'll get back to normal, so get ready to shout out.
Keep it up. We're all in this together.
Okay, good Lord willing, that worked, right?
Pretty well. There was a little lag because my lip sync was perfect.
Let me stop sharing screen. And there we are again. Okay, good. Well, that was certainly better than what we did before. Now, here's a question for you that's appropriate to the time, right?
Yes.
What is lamb chops? Now, first of all, I have to do a little reminder here for you. When you visited us, gosh, how many years ago was it? I don't know. It was a while ago. We were children, you and I. And there was this very young cub reporter from the local paper who came and interviewed you and was very excited and brought her boyfriend to see the producer circle. Do you have any recollection of this wide-eyed young reporter? Well, there she is, Jessica Boyan, who is now the opinion editor at the Capital Times in Madison. So she has long left us. But checking in for lamb chop, there it is. So what is lamb chop's favorite quarantine
cocktail? I was no, not a Cosmo. She likes the honey, what's that cocktail that we had in at the Wisconsin Fair that I liked? I can't remember. Sidecar.
A sidecar.
She likes the sidecar.
There you go. We have a favorite. So Judy says hello, nice thumbs up. Heck, that could be for my sound. That could be for the video. Who knows what it was for, but we'll take the thumbs up. So let's go back to this. Let's go back again, right? So you pull lamb chop up from the podium, and and there's the collective gasp, and there's the moment. And if it was a movie, that would be right. There'd be some kind of musical cue to follow this whole thing. Obviously, you practiced the voice before that, right? I mean, at what point did you?
Lamb Chop just spoke. You know, she's my little sister. She just spoke to me. I mean, I had to learn an act. I didn't have to learn the puppets. I'd been their writer. I've been their hair writer forever. So it always makes me laugh when people go, "Oh, your comedy is so much more contemporary than your mother's," and I'm like, she's been dead for over 20 years. Of course, I mean, she would have been contemporary, and I know this because I wrote for her then, and I write for Lamb Chop now. So I had to learn an act, and I was very lucky because the LA Zoo was very kind, and they let me perform every Saturday. First time I did 2 minutes, then I did 3 minutes, then I did 5 minutes. When I got up to about 15 minutes, the Magic Castle was very kind to me because at the Castle you do 3 shows a night, 7 nights in a row, the Sunday brunch. So you're like, I don't know, 26 shows in a week, just 15 minutes. And you're only supposed to perform 2 weeks a year there. And they gave me 8 weeks the first year. So I filled out my act there. So.
And from then it's on the road. And obviously you've got the show that people saw 7 or 8 years ago. I'm just going to call it that. Is not the show. Where yeah.
The show that I should have been doing my whole performing career, you gave me the idea for.
I did.
Yes, because at the after party at the Grand, whatever that was, you had the idea to collect some footage and ask questions and segue into the footage. And you did a really good job, but you didn't know all the material, which I did, right? So this show is the legacy show, and it's what I should have been doing the whole time. I start by saying to the audience, look, I know you guys are here because you love my mommy, and you all wish that you could be seeing Shari Lewis on stage. I wish you could too, and it's okay, because today, here's what you're going to see. You're going to see me and Lamb Chop singing and sort of dancing, move style, doing some comedy. There's going to be audience participation, and I'm going to tell you stories about Mom that you don't know, and I'm going to show you videos that you haven't seen. I'm going to curate my mother's life. If you remember Mom with the ponytail, you'll see that. If you remember the shag, you'll see that. If you remember the bob, you'll see that. If you remember the tight curls, you'll see that. If you remember the tight curls with the ponytail, you'll see that. Whichever version of Shari is your version of Shari, you're going to get to see it. And the show, at no point in the show is somebody more than, because my audiences range from infants to 80-year-olds. The show is not a children's show, although there is nothing inappropriate for children, and children will love it because the way I have the show set up, it's pretty much 3.5-minute sections. So you're never more than 3.5 minutes away from something that's aimed at you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not, you're not going to sit there wanting to shoot yourself, you know, because SpongeBob is dancing around the stage again, you know, and your kids aren't going to be going, can we go home yet? Can we go home yet? Because Pavarotti's on the stage. SpongeBob, Pavarotti, both fabulous entertainers, not for the same audience. But my show really is for everybody because you get to see Mom, you get to see me, you get to see Lamb Chop, you get to hear music, there's comedy, audience participation. It's great. And it's because of what you did that it inspired me to do this.
Well, I'm grateful for that shout out. And I'm grateful for the show. I'm really excited about it. As you know, well, you know how I felt about it. So I think it's going to be a fabulous, fun show. And
okay, I got a funny story. So you had said to me, can we get a little exhibit? You know, some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Now, I didn't know Joe at that point. And I'm like, oh, what do you want? I've got Mom's gown. I've got this. I've got that. I have her ashes. There was this silence on the end. Just like, her ashes? Yeah.
We did not use her ashes.
No. She hasn't worked in 15 years. She would love to have a gig. And the funny thing is, that's true. She really would have loved to have had a gig 15 years after her passing.
Sure. What you did send, though, that I recall, because we kept it under glass, was the original lamb chop.
Yes.
How many lamb chops have there been?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Okay, well, let's not go there. That's never. This is the equivalent of asking lamb chop's age, huh?
Yeah. Well, no, it's okay because, like all ladies, she lies.
Of course.
She has a very good seamstress.
Oh, here you go. Here's a nice one.
Yes, Hush Puppy does. Hi, Michelle. Hush Puppy does make a support local Oshkosh. Okay, it's just reading your thing around the front. Hush Puppy does perform in the show, and he's really good.
We'll take that.
Hush Puppy's really fun.
That's who we see, right? Basically, we see lamb chop, we see a little Hush Puppy. Do anybody else make it?
No, Charlie's extremely hard on the voice, and he's funny in relationship to the other puppets. He is not independently funny, and you can't really do a song with Charlie without the other puppets as a counterbalance. So he does not tour with me.
Someone asked this question. What you said just made me think of this. Someone asked, I think it was Seth MacFarlane on a show, if zapping from voice to voice to voice to voice, is that how he would do his shows? You know, and his response was, no, he recorded one, then he recorded the other, but in rehearsal he would go back and forth on the voices, and occasionally there'd be a mess up. How did that happen?
We do it live.
Mm-hmm.
We do it live.
Back and forth. You go back and forth on voices.
Yeah, Mom always wanted to. I think the goddess is called Shiva. She has like 6 arms or something, 13 arms. Mom always wanted to be her because she did. I can do 2. It's not. I've never needed to professionally. But Mom could have done 16. without a problem.
She never did. Do you remember any in rehearsal or anywhere her kind of going up and the wrong voice came out of the wrong mouth?
The only time that happened was the last day she was ever on camera. She had been diagnosed with terminal cancer the day before. She came in to rehearse at she found out she was dying and had 6 weeks to live. I mean, like eminently dying. At 11 a.m. and at 1 o'clock was at the studio. And the next day we were shooting and she couldn't keep Charlie and Lamb Chop apart. And after about the 5th take, I looked at her and I went over, I was her producer. I said, "We've got this take, Mom." And she looked at me and she said, "Is it going to be okay in the edit?" And I said, "Yes, I promise." So that's the only time she was not able to differentiate.
Is that that's the show where you did the wonderful song that we see in the show? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, with the songs we pre-recorded just because often there were, I mean, you pre-record music because you sound better.
Right.
But
right.
when she was doing, but live, in the old days, in the 60s, there was no pre-recording. So she had no trouble doing it. It's just, once techno. I mean, it's interesting because we did that green screen shoot in my garage with a couple of $1,000 still camera that had video, and my son Joe in New York sent me the music. I was singing into my stage mic, which was plugged into my son's computer, who he sent it to Joe, who married it, sent it back to me. Then we got on green screen. Then Joe did a whole bunch of animation, and it was $500.
Uh-huh.
And I remember with Mom, there was for some reason, it was really important that a stick go up in the air and do a couple of loops and land someplace. I don't remember why. And I don't remember why we had to use green screen, but it was $10,000 for 10 seconds. And we had to go into the big edit bay and use and the edit bays used to be freezing because the machines would take up the entire kitchen. My phone is as powerful. Our phones are more powerful than the computers that sent the first people to the moon.
Right.
So, this is what a hard drive looks like now. A hard drive is the size of a dining room table.
Yeah.
In a big family.
Yeah. It's really pretty amazing. Let's talk about something about your mom that I've always found interesting. I found it more interesting when you started sharing clips and things because somehow it helped bring it together for me. When you say Shari Lewis and Lamb Chop, you think children's entertainer, puppeteer. The woman was incredibly athletic and talented and live. And she was doing cartwheels at the play along.
Yeah. When she was 62 years old, 53 years old, she could run down the stage in a gown. And I don't mean I got it at Saks kind of gown. I mean, big gown with corsets and, boobies up, run down the stage in high heels and a gown, leap into the air and land in the splits and not have to be hospitalized. So she was a dancer at ABT when she was younger. And she was an entertainer. She hated to be pigeonholed as a children's entertainer. She was right at the tail end of vaudeville, or my grandfather was. She wanted to be an adult entertainer, and not that kind.
Right.
But she wanted to be universally acknowledged as the most talented person on the planet. and really, she may have been, but she loved doing. Children are hard to. Children will love you. They won't. They don't know enough to admire you. Mm-hmm. And I am perfectly happy simply to be loved. But mom was so skilled and so disciplined and so focused. Love was not enough. She really wanted the acknowledgement and admiration of. She would have made an excellent president.
Here's a great question. Jessie is channeling her reporter now. I love it.
Donald Trump.
Would surprise her. Well, that was a quick. That was a quick answer, and it covers almost everything.
What would surprise my mom most about the world today and entertainment in my life and society in general? Okay, I don't know that my mom would have been so thrilled with my son, and I don't just mean because it was a grandchild, but my kid's amazing. He's graduating in his junior year from Georgetown School of Foreign Service. He got into a master's program in international science and technology with a concentration in space commerce and energy security. I don't know what it means, but it sounds really important.
Kid he used to run your lights.
Yeah, he used to run my whole show. When he was 8 years old, we went to someplace in New York, and I was four-walling, which means I booked the whole theater. I was paying for everything, but I kept all the box office. And the sound guy's car ran into a snowbank on the way to the gig. And he calls me and he goes, Mallory, I'm not going to make the show. And I looked and I said, Jamie, what the beep is mommy going to do? And Jamie goes, oh, don't worry, mom. I set up your sound equipment. And I go, Jamie, you're 8. And he goes, what, Dad? How hard can it be? And he not only set up, he called a 23Q show twice, sold merch in between, and the sweet little boy fell asleep on the sound equipment trying to unscrew it. At the end. He has always traveled, or he used to travel with me. And he's such a lovely human being and so kind and smart. And I feel like I'm not a very religious or spiritual person, but I was sitting on the couch editing something when he was 5. And you know, at the end of a song, you're like, ah, and then you go like that because you're done. And I'm walking, and Jamie looks at me and he's 5. And he goes, get out before your smile fades. I looked at my kid and said, really, Shari? And he looked at me and went like that. No, that was literally something mom would have said. Those were edit notes that I have gotten before. Get out before my smile fades. No, I'm going to wait till you're picking your nose. Come on. I think that would have been the thing that would have made her. And I think what would have surprised her was how much I love being a mommy and what a good job I did.
Well, now let's face it. And I'm throwing you a real soft pitch over the middle of the plate here. I'm sure that growing up with Shari Lewis as your mom was all sunshine, happiness, and puppets at the table and that sort of stuff anyway, though, right?
It was, I mean, she was very focused, very smart. Parenting was not her priority. Her career was her priority. Now, that doesn't mean I was neglected. I got plenty of attention. My nanny was lovely. But it was not, she didn't do spelling drills with me at night. She was kind of the amount of attention, the amount of, you know how nobody ever says to a man who's running for office, well, how are you going to balance your political career with your family? Nobody ever says that. A woman with a child is running for office and people are like, well, how are you going to balance this with your child rearing? She was a woman in a man's world. And all my needs were always met, but she worked. Right. You know, I would come home from school. She had a home office. I would go in. I would say hi. I'd spend 5 minutes with her. And then she was still working. And it always made me crazy when people say, well, didn't you feel like your mom was neglecting you? I'm like, no. And why would I feel that mom was neglecting me more than I would feel that dad was neglecting me, who didn't even get home until 6?
Right.
But it's difficult being a woman because you have to. I read an interesting article the other day that said that 70% of men feel that they are, during this Corona time, 70% of men feel that they are doing at least 50% of the homeschooling and household duties. 3% of women agree. So,
yeah, I'm not in that percent that thinks I'm doing that. Not a bit.
Yeah.
Not a bit.
I'm just grateful that during this time I don't have small children.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a nightmare. I mean, my beautiful stepdaughter is a teacher. She teaches 4th and 5th grade combined class in a not affluent school. And she's like, yeah, the best that can happen is they do any assignment and check in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't expect parents. I think that the next time the school bond comes up and says, can we give the teachers a raise? Parents are going to be like, yes! Please give them a raise. Please, can I have one as a pet? I'll feed it. I'll walk
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. Give them anything they want.
I could have handled my son's schooling up to 3rd grade. My ex could have probably taken the math to 5th grade. But no, I mean,
Right.
I don't know. And it's one thing for the affluent parents who are home with their kids, who are this is the only work I've done today.
Right.
But what about, I mean, Hilda, has been my come in once a week housekeeper for the last 15 years. She's got a grandchild at home because her daughter is working.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you're an essential worker, whether that is making sure that my house isn't condemned, or a nurse or a doctor, and you're going into work and there's no daycare, and you're supposed to do homework when you get home at the end of the day like that.
Right. Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's something. Let's talk about the effect of this whole crazy episode on the life of an artist. We talk about, people hear me talk about, well, yeah, we're going to talk about social distancing, and yes, we lost 22 shows at the end of the year, and we don't know we're on a week in a prayer at a constant change for the fall, and it changes from one time to the next. There's another side to this equation, and that's the artists who are out there, particularly the solo artists.
I'm very lucky. A lot of one of the reasons, the only fair that I still do, or would still do, and the fairs got me through some very difficult years. God bless them, but dear God, those are hard. The only fair I still do is Wisconsin. And I'm sure I was going someplace with that. But a lot of the journeyman performers, who I actually consider far better performers than me, Kenny Ahern, Sean Emery, Steve Trapp.
Mm-hmm.
You know Steve.
Yeah, I do.
They're losing livelihood that really deeply matters. It matters today. And like all of us who are of a certain age, a bad year can wipe out 10% of a retirement savings.
Mm-hmm.
And our psyches need this. That's why we're performers. Nobody does this because it's easy.
Right.
Because they do it because there is a hole in their psyche that needs the approval of complete strangers on a regular basis. So it's devastating. And, the people who have animal acts. Animals still need to eat. I mean, I have 2 horses, and my girlfriend Tally runs the barn here. We just went through the Wolseley fire. She was shut down for 8 months. The horse did not decide to go on a diet.
Right.
And then now this, and she was shut down for 2.5 months. Again, the horses did not go on a diet. So I'm in a very lucky position in that, although the income from performances is a factor in my ability to live the lifestyle that I like to live, it is not my son is 21. He's not in, he's not in private school, which I have to pay for now. So it's really, really, really bad for so many performers. It's worse than it is for me, and my heart breaks for them. And
it's not unlike
we don't get stimulus, we don't get unemployment, we don't get small business loans. There's nothing for gig workers. Nothing. They say there is, there isn't. For me, I couldn't get anything because my income wasn't in the state of California. So I'm like, no, it's not. You're right, because I travel to work. They're like, well, sorry. So yeah, and most performers' income is not in their home state. So
right, exactly. Yeah,
it's really bad for performers, and I really hope that brighter minds than mine figure it out. Now, a lot of performers are doing stuff online, and even if I can't go to their show, and the reason I went quotes is because we need a stage, we need music. Right. I mean, this is, I always try and buy a ticket just because if everybody spent $5 or $10, I mean, the right. Trickle down only works if people are willing to trickle. And, so I would encourage anybody who's out there who, even if you don't want to go to the magic show that's online, if the ticket's $5,
buy it.
There are people who, and most of us performers have no other skills. It's this or hooking. Mm-hmm. And most are too old for the hooking. So, the performers are dying.
Yeah, it's vital that we all get back, and it's not like a question of, whether or not we want to do it. Of course we do, and the performers as well. But,
actually die.
Right. Exactly. I am looking at the clock on the wall. I'm watching it creep up to creep down actually to the end of an hour, and I think you know where I'm going with this. I think you did.
Oh, it is so good to see you.
It's nice to see you too, Lamb Chop. How are you?
Our performers are miserable without our audiences.
Yes, but how are you getting along being confined in the house with your sister Mallory?
Mostly Mallory keeps me in a Ziploc bag, so this is good for me.
Are you anxious to get back out on the road and meet your people?
I really, really, really want to get up back on the road, and I want to see people, and I want to kiss people, and I want to sing la 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 la, and do all sorts of fun stuff.
Well, listen, thank you for making an appearance here. I can't wait for you to come back to Oshkosh. Is Oshkosh even a word that works for Lamb Chop?
Oshkosh.
Oh, look at you go. That was beautiful.
Anything better than you.
I'm not. Now, there could be a throwdown here because I understand that your performances with Tommy Hensel involve duets with Lamb Chop.
Joe, I will send you the music. I will send you the lyrics. And if you would like to do a special appearance during my show with Lamb Chop, it's a challenge.
Good. It's a throwdown. Does anybody turn down an opportunity to perform with Lamb Chop?
No, of course they don't, because I'm famous.
That would be one of my best duet partners ever. I would look forward to that.
Wait a minute, one of your best? What do you mean one of your best?
I'm sure you will be the best.
Yeah,
And
if you didn't get to sing with Pink on the best.
Well, and by the time you get here, the way things are going, my hair and your complexion may be the same color.
I like that. I love it. I think that what the performing arts centers are doing is y'all are trying so hard. It is appreciated. It's really tough, and you have a great audience base, but a lot of the performing arts centers that are going to close and just never reopen. So
that's very true.
Yeah,
that's very true. And I'm bound and determined we're not going to be one of those.
Oh no, I have faith. If I have to ship Mom to you for $5 viewings,
she would pitch in for the cause, would she?
She totally would for you.
That's good news. So we're coming. I can't remember. I should have it in front of me, and I don't. But it's March, right? March. I can find it. Yeah. I'll find it to be sure.
Yeah, I just have to tell the audience. Joe's like, "What's your fee going to be?" And I gave him a sliding scale of fees from my normal fee to 10 times my fee, and he's like, "I don't get it." I'm like, "I don't do snow. I'm not coming in the winter. Push me as far to one end of the season as you can."
It's so true. Well, I can't find it right now, and I'm not going to take audience time. Yeah, it's springtime. Maybe March springtime, but it's springtime. And we're going to look forward to it. There'll be a couple of performances. It's interesting because I'm mourning a little bit our original plan, which is a COVID casualty, which was to put you and Lamb Chop visiting hospitals, and nursing homes and stuff, and that would have been just a fabulous outreach. That's just going to have to wait till the next time.
We'll have to figure. So let's put our thinking caps on, and what if you end up filming it? What if you gave to the nursing homes and the daycares, like free live stream?
That might work. That would work. That gets us into the places, but they all have internal TV.
Yeah, that'll work.
It was hatched here.
It'll be a virtual visit.
It was hatched here. So, Lamb Chop, are you okay with that?
I'm okay with it. I'll do anything for you, Joe, because I think you're cute.
Oh my gosh, and I think you're adorable. And you know what? I thought you were adorable when I was so young that I didn't know what adorable was.
Yeah, don't tell your wife.
I won't. It's our secret. So, well, listen, we are hitting to the end of our time here, and I do so much appreciate you. What's that?
Thank you for having me.
And
I'm so glad you could be here. Thanks for being part of this. This is the Grand at Home, and this, of course, is Mallory Lewis and Lamb Chop. We'll look forward to your visit.
It could be Lamb Chop and Mallory Lewis because I'm the one.
It is Lamb Chop and Mallory Lewis, and we are glad to have spent the time with both of you. Thanks so much. Stay well.
Bye.